Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Today, we're going to be doing something that kind of been wanting to do for a while. Want versus need.
That's right, folks. At first, this video is going out to a special friend of ours who's not doing so well right now. If you guys don't know him, his name is Rob Oren from Rob's Tabletop World. If you get a chance, please go and say hi to him for us and cheer him up because he could use a little cheering up. Who couldn't, right? So tonight we're going to talk about want versus need. Unless you guys are getting paid to paint a miniature, or you've promised to paint the miniature for your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or your gaming group, or you need the miniature for an upcoming game, and you really need to push yourself. Those are the exceptions.
A lot of examples.
Yes, we want to talk about the love of painting. We're all doing this for fun, except the previous mentioned, exceptions. We do this for fun. We do this because we love to paint, and most of all, we love the miniature that we're painting. If you're not painting a miniature that you love, find another one. I'm sure, like most of us, you have a pile of shame, or a mountain of shame, or a garage of shame, or something like that.
But you seem to have all of them at once.
That is very true. So go look for a miniature in your collection. Find something that you can't wait to primer and paint and like last week we were doing the finishing up of the Xeno Dragons, and I didn't want to put that down. I wanted to paint that.
I'm technically not done, but the reason why is because the paint we had that I was going to use doesn't work for some weird reason.
Right, we're having some weird some weird aspect of the neon blue, was it? Purple was just not reacting to the light when he was using it. But this video started with
the Skeletal Dragon from the Western month, even though it has nothing to do with
the Wild West.
Or just...
It was our dragon of the month for that month, and it was the closest we had to a Western dragon.
Even though it's
absolutely
no better than anything else that we could have used. We could have used anything else, and it would have worked.
But it's a perfect example of need versus want. We needed a dragon for the dragon of the month. We had a pile of dragons we could have chosen, but we chose this one, and thus
even though I like how it looks, I like how it turned out, it was just kind of boring.
Right.
I mean, what can you do with a Skeletal Dragon aside from the base?
And well, you added the green, which was your own little flair, and I think that really brings it to life.
Oh yes, but
I didn't want to paint it.
I mean, this was pretty much the inspiration for this video. We started planning it like 2 months ago or whatever.
Several months ago. Yeah. There's actually one other example.
2 months ago was when we
There's one other example. These guys right here. Now, I've talked about it before when we were doing the Western Town. The sculpts, the pose is okay. The detail is almost non-existent. The detail is so thin, but that really wasn't it. I had six cowboys.
They were all the same.
Yeah, I had 6 cowboys to paint for the game, and I just could not get enthused. These sat and sat and sat for close to 2 years with little bits of paint here and there, coming and going. I'd remind myself.
I don't even think they're finished yet.
They're not. But as a stark contrast, I have these 3 cowboys. One of them's not really a cowboy, but he looks like a cowboy. I couldn't wait to paint these. I had a mountain of miniatures. I saw these. I bought them off eBay. As soon as they got here, I ripped them open, primed them, based them, started working on them, even though I had a ton of other stuff I needed to paint, but I could not.
Even though you got into this, that was something you technically did. You didn't need to do it. I mean, the one I had, I didn't finish, but that was for school and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Which is probably where I'm actually going to finish it, maybe this month.
But I wanted to paint these. I wanted to paint these cowboys. And, they're not that different. You look at these 2 right here. They're not that different.
The only difference is quality.
These do have, because they're Reaper miniatures and they are metal, and I always buy Reaper metal miniatures for characters and humanoids because the bones.
Or these smaller ones.
Because the bones, their faces they don't even have faces in my opinion. But I could not hold back. I had to paint these. I wanted to paint them. I'm still not technically done. I got a little bit of work to do on all of them. I was painting them last night, and not because of the video, but because every chance I get, I go back to these miniatures just because I can't
Are you
wait to
gonna
paint
buy another one more just so you can paint them again?
There are a bunch of the Cowboy miniatures in the Reaper, Chronoscope, and Deadlands, or some. They have two lines of miniatures that have Western cowboys, and I have a bunch more on my pile of shame. But these ones jumped out at me. I'm going to use this one when I make a preacher character for Shadows of Brimstone, and this one's my cowboy in Shadows of Brimstone as well. You know, it is our favorite game.
At the moment.
At the moment, yeah. It's tied with Dungeons and Dragons and always will be. But these, you know, if I never see them again, you know, it wouldn't break my heart. I'm not going to lose them on
Would you throw
purpose.
them off the side of the fence for $10?
No, I wouldn't, because they would cost a lot more than that to replace them. And, you know, when we play the Western
Would you sell
Town,
them?
nobody would want them, trust me. They've got the least effort I've ever put into a miniature, admittedly. And, you know, stark contrast, over here we have some miniatures.
That you did care about.
This one I spent like 2 months on. I love this miniature. It's one of my favorite miniatures I've ever painted. It's the ancient one, again, from Shadows of Brimstone. But, you know, I have some other Cthulhu type miniatures that I'm going to break out, including the Bones Cthulhu that's about this big, and I can't wait to paint him. I just keep forgetting that he's in my pile of shame.
Well,
And,
he's in the garage.
but I'll get to it,
Yeah,
you know.
we have all of them.
But I had so much fun with this one. I didn't want to stop, but you know,
Also,
there comes a point. Also,
it has something to do with a video we're making next month.
that's true.
Because
You
also
will
next
see-
month is this month and next month as before very well are very connected,
Yes.
even more than the winter months. But yes, it will
Spoiler
have a
alert.
lot to do with one of our videos.
But the little guy, he's got.
Will you finish what you were saying?
I didn't want to finish painting it. I had to force myself to stop.
Because if you continued,
I might get
You would
another
end
one.
up-
I might get another one just to paint him. You know, the opposite colors. And you know, wherever he's green, I'll make him purple, and wherever he's purple, I'll make him green.
what about the parts that are neither? What are you gonna give him, a gold sword?
No, maybe I'll flame it up or something. I don't
And
know.
also, this was a Christmas present.
Yes, it was, so that made it extra special. But, you know, I've been eyeballing this miniature since day one I saw it, you
And
know,
then we got it for him.
and, you know, I love it. I'll always look back on this as, you know, one of my, you know, most enjoyable painting experiences. You want to tell them about yours?
No, because you still have one more.
Well, I got a couple more. This little character from our Dungeons and Dragons game. I really enjoyed painting this one. I didn't want to stop, and I had to stop myself. I told myself I was done. There wasn't much I could do. I could have gone more, you know, dressed up the swords or you know what have you. But you know, it was a miniature I just had a lot of fun with. In recent memory, even though this was you know going on about a year ago that I finished it. But, you know, when we play, I pull it out, I use it, had a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. This one here also was in the same campaign.
We actually used both of them in,
The
I
same,
believe, in the same video. And
Yeah.
we used,
yeah, we did, you're right.
in the original Dungeons videos, the one that was split into two parts. The first one was released almost a month after the first one, which was actually, the set of part one was released after part two, and part two only existed on accident
Yeah.
somehow.
You can go back
We are
and,
incredibly confused on how all that happened. We aren't confused on how it didn't upload until we got it.
it was a
on the
long
computer.
video, so if you only want to watch part
But, and it
two,
is, I think, our longest video.
if you want to jump to part two and skip part one,
Which part two is basically like all of our modern dungeon and starships videos,
where we just show you,
the finished product.
right. This one, I also spent a long time.
Because the first one actually built the thing.
I actually did this one before the big guy here. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of green. You might not actually be able to guess that. But I spent a lot of...
I mean, you have made a few things green, even though... Which is kind of weird. You say that you hate green, but almost...
In the Dungeons and Dragons world, a lot of things are green. And
Three
I really...
out of the four things you liked, if you count all those separate, then it's
Right.
different. But
I did push
are
myself.
green. They're
and-
all green,
and-
except for those.
And this is where I broke my habit of, you know, not wanting to paint things green. Because, you know, you're going to paint a Hydra, it's going to be green. You know, that's just...
What do you mean your habit? This is green. The aliens are green. This
But-
is your Xeno Dragon has a lot of green.
This was probably the first time I broke a lot of my old habits. And I taught myself a lot of things, and I really, I really spent a lot of time painting it, and as I was painting it, I grew to love this miniature, even though as you can tell, I never glued the head on because for storage it's easier, and I just usually normally throw some blue tack to hold it together.
Wait, is it connected to the rock?
No, I'm waiting to find. Reaper has a base that's a sort of an oblong.
It's weird how this whole thing is not connected. The rock it's sitting on was perfect.
Mm-hmm. But I'm waiting to find this.
Nothing about it is connected.
I'm waiting to find a Reaper miniature base. It's an oblong. It's about this big, and I plan on really.
You could use something like this. Obviously not this one. Exactly.
No, it's like shaped like almost like an egg or a big oval, and I really want to dress it up and finish it off completely. But that goes with one of our rules. If you're not good enough or you're not ready or you don't think you have the skill to finish a miniature, focus, then you can put it you can put it aside. You can put a miniature aside and come back to it. Like this one, I'm going to come back to it. I may even add some little.
It's just the base, though.
Right, but that's still coming back to it. If I want, though, when I'm doing that, I could add some touches here and there, I suppose. But want versus need, guys. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Wait till you want to do it. Wait till you're ready. Wait till you love that miniature again. Like when you first bought it. Little guy, your turn.
Okay, to start with what I didn't like and what I.
Yes.
Actually, didn't I already talk about this one?
Yeah, you sure did.
But it was very brief.
Yeah.
But also, that's really all it deserves because I have nothing else to say about it.
Yes,
I needed to do it, but it was boring. Is he trying to get in the video?
He sure is trying to get in the video.
But we will not allow him in the video today, or will we?
No, he doesn't get to come in the video. Oh, cameo! Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Say hi. I don't want to say hi. I want to say hi to your daddy because I love you. Yes, you're a good boy. Now go. Okay, down. It's in his contract. He gets one appearance a month, and that was it.
And I guess last month he didn't make it, but he did howl at the end of the last video.
Yes, he did.
But it was briefly seen.
Yes, seen. Yeah, you can see the word letters come out of his mouth.
No.
So your favorites that you really.
These four, and I'm considering these together, and this is just one. And by four I mean three, because I'm good at. I could consider these different, but yeah, these three. This one, I might be a bit biased because I made the whole thing, and I didn't make the original plastic model, but I made most of it. I did almost all of it.
You took scraps and you turned it into a masterpiece. I love it. If I ever get to that point where I actually make something from scratch, other than one of our crafts, I did the Samhain and the Wendigo, and I like doing those a lot, but not at first. The Wendigo, we weren't thrilled about it, but we pushed through it.
We realized it was pretty good.
Yeah, we pushed through it, and it became pretty cool. The Samhain, on the other hand, I really, from the moment I thought of doing it, I was enthused to do it. I really enjoyed building it.
Yeah, I didn't really have much of a thought on it. Like, I didn't have any... I listened to my memory.
See, when I was growing up as a kid, there was this cartoon, The Ghostbusters, based on the TV show. And there was a character that they had to deal with called Samhain. And my friend and I, we went nuts. We thought it was the coolest thing. It was, a Halloween thing all wrapped up into the Ghostbusters and, a pumpkin head, but not the headless horseman. And, we just dug it, So, it brought back a lot of good memories and it made it, a little bit more personal for me. And that goes along with something I was thinking about. A lot of people who paint have to paint large regiments or squads or companies of soldiers. And, I used to do that myself. And one thing I always did to get through that was to name every individual model. On the underside of the model, I would literally paint their name under here, so that while I was painting Fred or Joe or Sam,
because those are the only three names you can come up with.
Well, yeah, I would paint the name under there, and then when I would go to paint it, I would think about the name and think about the personality, even though it was just a skeleton or a necromunda, Juve or some other character, that they did have names, but like for my Bretonians or my elf army, I would give them a name, and then when I was painting them, I'd look at the name and associate that with the paint job, so that when you guys are painting large numbers of orcs or goblins or Skaven or whatever you're painting, think about it. Maybe give them a little bit of a name under.
You also paint them all at the same time.
Well, yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah, people ought to do that.
The whole assembly line paint job, but that turns it into a need versus a want. And when you put that little personal touch into a miniature, and you put that little extra effort and detail, it'll make that miniature more personal and more attached to you. You'll start to care about the paint job that much more. You won't be just mindlessly painting boots, one pair after another, then going on to the pants and then going on to the weapons and things like that. If you've got the name for the miniature already in your head, it really will help you not just sell it to your audience, whoever that might be, but it'll sell it to yourself.
Anyways,
Your turn.
that was very long.
Yeah.
That was long for something. Anyways, to sum it up, I like this one. I like making it, but that includes the process of making it, not just painting it. Mm-hmm. Which is why it's kind of biased, because it includes the process of making it, and I really like making things, especially out of pretty much nothing.
Yeah, that's
which is something we can't do for crafts that often, because they're often extremely like individual things that are specific, that there's no need to for that many other people to actually have. Something like things like the brain of the jar, but that was him. Like the tank, not the the tank, the robot, and this, all specific things. But yeah, I like painting it, I like making it, so it's kind of biased because I can't remove the process of making it and the fact that I even made it myself. But still, one of my favorites to paint.
The other ones?
Okay, finally we're on to. It's kind of weird, but it's not just these three, but I really like doing the dry brush over lava type stuff over the neon orange.
Well, you're gonna get your fill of that when we get our Dungeons and Lasers pledge in
Yes,
next
we will.
month or the month after.
Yes, that is.
You're gonna have a ton of lava to paint. You'll probably, maybe get a little burnt out if you're not careful.
Perhaps, but yeah. I also did a bit different. Like I had their arms, still orange. I didn't do it exactly how they did it in the book. Mm-hmm. So the thing that told you how to paint them.
In the
steps.
Caverns of Cinder.
Yes, but I didn't want to do that for the main reason. I just kind of felt that we shouldn't, or that I shouldn't, because it's a bit too complicated, and this is simple and still looks pretty good.
Yeah, I really like it.
Onto probably my favorite out of all of them. Maybe this one, but I am trying to account for the possible bias that might be there. These two.
Where do they come from?
They come from Shadows of Brimstone, the game made by Archon Studios in 1973.
Oh my goodness! They're from the Siege of the Citadel. They're two Brotherhood miniatures that we previewed a couple of months back, and
yes, we did.
He got the better end of the paint job chores during that month. I really wanted to paint them, but seeing as how much he just dug on their sinister nature, considering that they are supposed to be pious, goodly type,
Even though I might paint the other guy, like the special one that has all three things.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like painting that one. But yeah, pretty neat to paint. I liked it.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun, and don't let him fool you. He was up early before I was that particular week, painting away before school, I think it was.
Or, well, it was online school, but still.
Yeah, right. He was painting, I think, maybe even during class.
I don't know.
But yeah, he really enjoyed painting these miniatures a lot, and little does he know that I have a mountain of Warzone miniatures in my collection.
Except I do know.
Oh, that's right. I told you. Still in the blister pack from the 1980s and 90s. I have a mountain of Warzone pewter miniatures and plastic miniatures that have never been painted. And once we've run out of scenarios in the Siege of the Citadel, we will probably...
Scenarios?
Yeah, in the rules, you know how there's different scenarios for the game.
Oh, okay.
After we run out of those 100 or so missions, we will probably try our hand at playing some old school Warzone, unless the new Warzone comes out before then, in which case my mountain of shame will get that much taller.
Yes?
So, in conclusion...
I don't know.
Love to paint. Paint what you love. Have fun. That's what this is all about.
So the moral of this story is paint what you want to paint, unless you absolutely have to paint something else. Okay. I think that's it. Right?
That sums it up nicely. So thanks for stopping by, folks. Rob, I hope you're feeling better. And we will see you guys Thursday for a pretty nifty craft video. Hope you guys join us, and have a great week.
Yeah, there's actually two possibilities, but one is very much not preferred.
We're going to probably stick with the easy one.
They're both easy. It's just we haven't prepared for one of them.
Yeah. So there you have it, folks. We'll see you soon. Say goodnight, sport.
See. Good night.
Buenas noches.